Hello, welcome back to the Beatdown Bandits podcast. I'm Colin, and little different today, little different perspective, I guess. So I have two desks in my office right here, and then there's like the door over here to exit. So normally like I record stuff over there, and that's where all my like gaming crap is, and I do tend to do like my work. If I'm working from home over like in this corner desk, and I was just sitting here and decided I'm just going to record this here today. So this is a little different perspective if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening, hey, guess what? Not gonna be any different, but the camera quality should be a little better. Normally, like I record from just like a really crappy webcam, and it's not the world's best quality. And especially if like I have guests, like I just do everything through like Zoom. And even if I'm just by myself, sometimes if I want to like screen share and stuff like that, it's just easier through Zoom. So I've always done it through Zoom typically. So used this camera recently. My wife and I did a German snack foods taste test and recorded it through this camera, and actually it was perfectly fine. I've recorded stuff on this before, and I'd always use like a headset with a microphone to do better audio, but it actually picked up audio okay. So I'm just going to wing it and kind of hope for the best. I did want to just kind of mix things up. Today's episode, and normally like I have notes. So let's fully disclose this too. Normally like I at least have like bullet points of like things I want to talk about and things I want to discuss and hit or whatever. And today I do not have that. So not that I'm just like winging it, but today's episode is going to be a little bit more raw and real and just me and my immediate thoughts, which is a little dangerous, but we're going to see what happens. So, today's episode is also, I don't want to say like depressing or just even like different, but I mean, it is different, right? So I'm discussing mental health today. That's kind of the topic, and I'm relating it to video games. So it's not going totally off keel. But I felt like it was something I needed to talk about. And a couple days ago, I was kind of thinking about like, oh, I gotta get my podcast done for this week. And I was kind of going through a couple topics, but I kept coming back to like mental health. And I think the reason why was because like, and not to get like too real or too like personal, but like my mental health personally has kind of been like down in the drain here recently. And it has to do with a lot of different stuff. Mostly like a lot of work stuff has been going on. I'll talk about that. But then, like even like just our like current political climate, like that's been, very dramatic here recently, and it's all through the world, but like specifically about the United States. And I'm not going to get political at all. I'm not going to like, there's no side choosing here. I don't discuss politics on this at all. That's not what this is for. This is about having all the good times, right? But the problem is like, and specifically in the United States, is we have a divide, 100%. Like there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. There's a divide, right? Like right down the middle, everybody thinks they're on this side or this side. And if you're on this side, you think this side is they're all extreme, right? You think everybody's on the, like if you lean left, you think everybody on the right is way over here. And if you lean right, you think everybody on the left is way over here, right? When really we're all like here in this middle. Like this is 98% of America. This is the 2%. There's 1% here, 1% here. And they're kind of crazy, right? We can all probably agree with that. Most of us are right here. And like that's what we need to realize is like not everybody, we're not all crazies. And whoever the president is, if it be a Bush or a Clinton or a Trump or a Biden, it doesn't matter. That has no effect on how good of a person I am, how nice I am to people. I don't care if there's a Republican in office. I don't care if there's a Democrat in office. I can still be a good human being. I can still be a good human being to somebody who has a different political belief than I do. That never changed me as a kid. So like always just think about like how you would act as a kid. Would your like 9-year-old self, if like you were acting like this, like how a lot of people have been, if your 9-year-old self saw you right now, or your 15-year-old self saw you right now, would they just like want to punch you in the face for being an idiot? If the answer is yes, then you need to like look inward, right? And like, what is wrong? Like, why do I have to act like this? I've seen so many times where like and I've heard so many stories and seen it, and a lot of it has to do with like social media, right? Like you get on Facebook and 99% of it is just drama, people hating on other people about whatever things, and then it slowly, if you read the comments, everything gets back to politics. It doesn't matter what it is. It's so sad. And but I've seen like families broken because somebody voted for Biden and not Trump, or somebody was an Obama fan, or somebody was a Clinton fan. It's insane. And like I've seen siblings separate and say no, we're no longer going to talk with each other. I've seen like grown adults who no longer talk with their parents. I'm sure there's been divorces that have happened because of somebody voting for a politician. It's really sad that those things have to happen. When I was a high schooler, so let's jump back to like 16-year-old me. I did not care what any of my friends' politics were. We were just having a good time. I related to all of them. We all cared about each other. We would do anything for each other. I would I would protect them. Would have a friend get in a fight, and I would stand in between. And those things like legit happened. And this person today has not drastically different political views, but different political views than I do. I would still get into a fight for that person today. I don't care what somebody's politics are, and that's crazy to me, right? So people need to be doing more of that. Think about like your 16, 14-year-old, 12-year-old self. Did you care about politics? I seriously doubt it. So if as a kid, would you think like somebody who has different political views than me, I can't be friends with that person? No. There's no difference as an adult. So, and it's even more sad as an adult that we do these things, right? So, yeah, I mean, so that's it for my political stuff. I just think it's very frustrating. A president is not going to bring us together. Every president promises like, okay, we're gonna unite, and those things just don't happen. So, we can't rely on a president. We can't rely on any politician to be honest about things or whatever. We got to do it inward. Not that anybody is going to see this that really needs to see this, but hopefully maybe it'll affect one person or whatever. I don't know. It probably isn't going to affect anybody, but anyway, it has affected like my mental health somewhat, because I don't want to see those things. I haven't lost friends, but I've had friends like just totally disappear, or friends talk about things of like, oh, I can no longer talk with this person because of their views, and like that's just sad. So anyway, let's move on from politics, right? We're gonna move on because nobody really likes to talk about it. So the number 2 thing, which is the big thing for me personally right now, is work stress, and I do. Fully disclosure, I do love my job. I have no issues really with my job. I've been there for 10 years now. Got a promotion about 7.5, 8 years ago, and got a chance then to work from home. I would go to the office like once or twice a month or so to help with like projects or travel a couple times a year for different things, and really loved it. And then COVID hit, and our team took like a dramatic shift, and we lost a lot of people. A lot of bad stuff happened with COVID, right? And it was very unfortunate. And I ended up kind of by default moving up into another promotion, and not an easy promotion to take. It's a lot more stress. Because of the situation that we were in. Like I said, we had lost a lot of people on our team, and so now we were kind of relying on formerly like 17 people, and now 6 people, which is including me. So those people had to do all the same amount of work, and a lot of different types of work, and so it was very stressful. And I started like previously I was working 45-ish hours a week or so, and now I'm working 55 hours a week. A lot of 12-hour days, at least 10-hour days every day. And so obviously, like, a lot more stress, and I'm having to go into the work, just going into the office, at least like twice a week or so. And you know, that's a lot of added stress. So you know, I mean, you know, there's just a lot of crap happening there without going into like full work details. But in particular, the like main customer that we have to work with is making a lot of poor decisions. We'll just say that, and that's had like a dramatic effect on me. So yesterday, I was at work. I was in the office, and just a lot of bad stuff happened. Right, and it was extremely frustrating. I just by 3 o'clock, like all I could think of was like, I just want to go home. I want to watch a hockey game, and I want to have a drink. And like, it's just kind of sad. And I don't drink much. I mean, I could go weeks without like even having that need to, like, just to get a drink. But like, that's the type of crap like that have been happening a lot at work, and like I just need a drink. So you know, I was able to come home, and I don't vent a lot. Like, this is kind of that mental health aspect is, and it's probably like a, you know, a masculine thing, is like, I don't talk about feelings. I usually don't even talk about work. Because one, I feel like most people just don't care, or don't, even like my spouse, and like, not that my wife doesn't care about, you know, my stresses or my frustrations or my job. She does, but like, I don't necessarily like to bother her with those things. So I mean, she's got a stressful enough job and life as it is. So I don't like to talk about those things, but I had to vent yesterday. Like, I probably talked for 20 minutes about the crap that happened yesterday at work. And, so that's really tough, right? And, so, you know, God bless her for having to listen to me and to kind of deal with that. So, but that was nice. You know, she ended up making me like a pretty stiff drink, and, you know, that made me feel a little better. But man, like, you know, I got home from work. I had worked I was probably in the office for 10.5 hours or so yesterday. Got home, got my stuff set up, and I worked another hour at home, before, like, being able to talk to my wife, getting that stiff drink, and right. So, yeah, it's you know, that destroys mental health, and people need an outlet for those things. And if somebody's at home or whatever, you know, you need to get that person that can listen to you, or is asking how things are and actually means it. That's really important. I would highly encourage people, regardless of your sex, if you're a male or a female, married, whatever. You know, if you need to talk to somebody, you know, you need to reach out to a therapist. I mean, a lot of that stigma, I think, is just not as common as it used to be. And you know, I've never had that desire, so to speak, or whatever, but there are days where, like, I can feel like, yeah, my mental health is just like done for the day, and like, I need a break. So anyway, I feel like I'm talking too much. I'm not that far into this video, but it's a lot of words. So I appreciate that. So let's twist this back to video games, right? So there's like this really funny meme. I've seen it a whole bunch, and it really relates. I think it was actually speaking about Apex Legends, which is it's the biggest game that I play right now, or it's the most common game I play right now. So for me, like, if I want to just sit down and play a game, I want to play Apex, and what the meme is basically like, oh man, coming home from a stressful day at work, sitting down to play your favorite video game, Apex Legends. And the bottom of it is basically like a sweaty team of Apex predators there to just murder you, right? And you know, that's not quite as fun. So yeah, a little stressful. 100%. So, hang on one sec. Somebody was trying to say something to me. All right, cool. Anyway, somebody was texting me, and I'm on the phone. So I just sent him a message. So, anyway, So Apex is really sweaty right now, is basically what I'm getting at. And so it's hard to have like legit fun in Apex. So I was talking to another friend of mine, and we were talking about like how a lot of people just in Apex don't even know how to have fun. And they're just there to win and be sweaty, etc., etc. And people forget like that video games are about having fun, right? And like most people do that, and a lot of people don't think about like, especially if like somebody's playing on console. Now like I'm set up on a desk and play on monitors and everything like that, so I'm like right there to play as intent as I can be, and if I need to play good or sweaty, I can do that because I'm sitting there. I'm in an office chair. You know, it's an actual chair. So I can do those things if I need to. But a lot of people that, especially on console, could be sitting and playing on a couch, and they could be 10 back from the monitor. They could be having like 3 conversations. They could be in the middle of a party. They're playing with their kids, and they're playing one-handed. You know, people don't always think about those things. And like that was another thing that I was thinking about is like I've played so many games in Apex, and I could even have like a good game. And let's say I have just a good game. So we'll say I have 3 kills and 800 damage in a game of Apex, right? Decent game, and we finished 3rd place. Like, okay, I'll take that. Well, the person, one of my teammates, say had 4 kills and 900 damage. Well, I apparently costed that game. They don't make mistakes. So many people like send messages like, "Oh my God, you're trash. Uninstall the game." And like I had one recently where like I legit had like more kills and damage than my teammate. It was a duos game, and I had more kills and damage. He instantly died, and I didn't clutch the 1v2 to win the game. And he sent me a message like during the closing screen like uninstall. And I'm like, "Oh, did I play that bad or whatever?" And like I get to the end, it's like I had more kills and damage than this dude, and he's telling me to uninstall. I mean, so many people are just so sweaty. If anybody's trying to play like ranked or whatever, and they're costing in a game, then okay, so be it. But in a pubs match or duos or something like that, then it's just not worth like getting worked up about. And so a lot of people need to hear it. I don't know who needs to hear it. But I've seen a lot of people get really upset at their teammates for like not clutching something, or they didn't win their one-on-one. But then in their very next game, they do the same thing, and they're like, "Oh man, like But you just cussed out your teammate in the previous game for the exact same thing you just did the next game. So like keep in mind like you don't win most of your games. You probably have like a 5% win rate. So you lose most of your games. You have been carried a large portion of your games. And you're not the best player in Apex. So like a lot of people need to realize that. So that goes for every game though. Like I'm saying Apex, but like that goes in every game. Every single person, regardless who they are, have been carried in a game. Every single person has had a really horrible game where they get no damage, no kills, and they just instantly die. It's happened to every single one of us, right? And but it's not worth like lessening down or bashing down somebody over that. And it's just not worth it to like belittle somebody else for doing the same stuff. So I would like to take a moment to tell everybody, like, for the sake of your mental health, because you being negative and putting other people down, that also affects yourself. Stop telling people how bad they are. Honestly, like, if you were to drop into a game and be more friendly and tell people, like, "Hey, man, like, hope, have a great game. Hope everything works out well for you. Hey, you need any ammo? You need this?" Your games would go a lot smoother. Your mental health would be good. You would have better games. Your teammates would have better games. They would have a better experience. You would have a better experience. And hey, you might make a friend. Now I'm not a big talker in games. Like I'm typically muted a lot. I will come off mute if I'm not in a party with other people or whatever, but I will come off mute if somebody is friendly and says something like, "Hey man, how's it going over there?" Or, "Hey, like if anybody sees a flat line, ping it for me." I'll come off mute and say, "Yeah, no problem." And even if like I play like garbage, if I've just said something to that person, the odds of them saying anything bad, like let's say like we find that they carry us and I have like 12 damage and no kills, they typically don't say anything. They're like, "Oh, good game," and move on to the next one. Because hey, they know you're now human, right? And so I think that's very important for people to understand. So anyway, that is my my Xbox moment, or my Xbox moment, my Apex moment of just talking about that. So I did recently watch a video, something I don't normally watch. For some reason, it caught my eye. Is Courage, who plays a lot of games. He's a very well-known streamer, YouTuber, whatever. And so I really hadn't watched his videos before, but I watched a lot of people who he plays with. I watched a lot of their videos. And, but he had a video, it could have been, I don't know how old it was. I just watched it yesterday. But it was called The End. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast is that, I had recently been thinking over the last couple of days about mental health and that I needed to maybe have a podcast about mental health, or if it wasn't going to be a podcast, like just a weekend video to have like a vlog, let's talk type of a video about mental health. And I was like, I got to do one of those. And so I'm like, I'm just going to throw it in the podcast because maybe it'll hit some more people. So anyway, I don't know why, but I'm like, I got to click on this. It's like, is it clickbait? Is he ending? Is he stopping streaming? Is he moving to a different streaming service? Whatever. And that's been pretty common here recently. So I'm thinking that's probably what it is. And but he kind of talked about mental health. And wasn't like in detail, but he talked about how like he had been playing games for the sake of views and money or whatever. And so he had been playing those and maybe not having as much fun, but he was getting the views because it was the popular game at the moment. Or it was the game that he and his friends that he'd been playing with were playing, so he kind of got forced into it. And but he was getting the views. So that was important to him, but at some point he hit like a wall of like, I'm not really having fun. So he decided, even while streaming, he was going to play games that he wanted to play. Now, I don't know what he's playing or what he's having fun with, but he said, the views have went way down, but he's having so much more fun. And so I think that kind of goes back to that Apex thing of like, I'm coming home from work. I don't want to get obliterated by a 3-stack of Apex Predators and Master Players. Like, I'm just here to chill, have a good time, and maybe have a couple of decent games. Not jump in with randoms and get obliterated by 3-stacking people in pubs. So or get yelled at because I might have a bad game or something. So, but that kind of went back to that. And he said, he was having a lot of fun just playing games that he wanted to play, and it was really good content. And he was having fun, but the views were down. So for him, if he's getting 5,000, 6,000 views on his streams, maybe he was only getting 1,200. But he was okay with that because he's having a good time and the stream was popping off because he's got a better attitude about it. And, so for me, if I were to switch and say if I stop streaming Apex and I stream something else that maybe I would have more fun with and I would have a better attitude about because I'm not going to get frustrated by by crazy randoms or 3-stacking Predators, that maybe my views would go down. Now, I might go from 2 viewers to 1 viewer. Shout out my Twitch channel below. I stream every Wednesday and Saturday. But, yeah, worth a shot there, right? So, I might have more fun with it. Now, I still love Apex. But like, let's say I hate Apex and I'm only playing it because like I play with a group of people that love to play Apex. Now I have a friend, I'll call him out. We'll see if he watches this. We'll see if he says something to me. So my friend Matt, who he's not very good at Apex. He's getting better. I still think he has some fun with it, but he really just plays because I enjoy playing it, and he would rather play with me playing a game he doesn't necessarily like as much, and maybe not as good at. But he'd rather play with his friends. But I think really in the long run, he would almost rather play something else with me and have fun over there in a different game that he's better at. So I get that 100%. So we'll see if Matt comments. You know, either check below or I'll see if he mentions something in a video. So Matt, checking to see if you're listening to the podcasts. So anyway, you know, so that's kind of Matt's situation. I don't know, like he's talked to me a couple times recently about like, I really have fun playing this with you, and but I can tell like he gets frustrated because like, and I get frustrated too because like I feel like, oh my gosh, we should have won that game, and like I said, Matt's not great. He's a little bit slower about like looting and catching up, and so he's not a great mobility person when it comes to Apex. So I'll get into a fight, and I'm always outnumbered because Matt's about 20 seconds behind. So I usually get knocked, and Matt's in a different POI. So sometimes that's on me, sometimes that's on Matt. But then I get frustrated, like, oh my god, like if Matt was here, we potentially could have won this. But now I'm dead. Matt's going to have to win a 1v2 or a 2v3 type of situation, and it's just probably not going to happen because we're now outnumbered. And so I get frustrated. I think he gets frustrated. And, you know, so that can affect your mental health. So I think it's important to step away from games, even if you're kind of having some fun with it. But if you're getting a little frustrated, it might be worth, like, let's go play something else. And, like, we've had those moments a ton of times. Like, let's not play Apex. We're not playing very good. Let's take a week off, and let's play a few other things. And we have we have a great time doing that. So, yeah, so I mean, those are kind of the big things I think with mental health, and kind of the things I wanted to discuss. But for anybody who needs to hear this, like, mental health is extremely important. I don't know if it's like Mental Health Awareness Month. I feel like we just had it or something, but I think it's important to remember it all of the time. That everybody's mental health is very important, and there is a big stigma on men with their mental health. You know, so I'm always open. I have contact information below. Nobody's going to reach out to me, but I have no problem offering myself as just a listener. You know, I'm a fairly experienced person. I have a very stressful working situation. I am 39 years old. I come from like a broken home. My father spent time in prison. I went from poverty to poverty. So I know what it's like to have a lot of bad situations. A lot of bad things happen to you. You know, I have kids. I have a spouse. You know, I've got like, okay, I'm always in the situation where like, oh, things are finally settled down. We're happy. And then you have $1,000 repair on your vehicle. I have been through all of that. So if anybody does want to discuss something, I'm all ears. I'm perfectly fine to listen to those things. Offer advice, not offer advice, just listen. I have no problem with that. So contact information is below. Feel free to reach out to any psychiatrist, therapist, whatever. Those things are very important for a lot of people. Getting things off of your chest and finding outlets, whatever those hobbies may be, playing sweaty in pubs, you know, whatever that outlet is for you, do it, even if it's 3-stacking in pubs and coming in to kill old guys with no reflexes that have had 1 or 2 drinks while trying to play. So whatever that outlet is for you, do it. I highly encourage it, whatever you need to do. So that is it for today. Hope everybody stays healthy and mentally safe, and we'll talk to you all later. Thanks. Bye.